Let there be light.
Well, there are way more plants than the last time I was here.
There's way more plants, and a few of the plants have taken over. They're crawling around the room and kind of really getting settled in. There's still projects ongoing, so you're going to see wires and tubing and stuff like that. Some empty tanks, but I do actually have a lot more tanks filled probably than the last video, which was
a long time ago.
Like 10 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Last fall, winter. So.
It's been a while. Look at this. Look at this guy.
Yeah. This is just a pothos, and it is just like taken over. I gotta make sure we don't go in the outlet, but
we're in Jumanji.
Right now, I'm letting it go. And then there's like this one right here. Another vine is coming all the way down here. Comes down. It roots into this tank. Comes down. Goes all the way across this 75 and is now up on top of the gecko cage. I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it from there, but
just let it keep going.
Do its thing right now. And there's a couple of that going on. I've got this golden pothos doing the same thing. It starts all the way over here, comes up, roots in this tank, comes all the way up. I swirled it around a piece of tank wood that I'm not using at the moment, and now it's come down into this tank and is taken root. So some of the plants are definitely super happy.
Nice. Well, let's start over on this side.
Okay.
I think we started on the other side last time.
You want me to turn off plant lights for glare?
Yeah, let's turn off the back lights.
All right. Turned off some lights so you guys can see the tanks individually. This is probably the oldest tank I have, and the plants that are in there have been there. This is the tank that had the goldfish in the very first video that you did.
Long time ago now.
Long time ago. And it's really been the same fish that are in there that have been in there, with the exception of I've added some more of those koi angelfish, and I've added that male betta there, that red veil tail in the corner.
Yep.
And other than that, I've just kind of let it be. During the summer, these blinds behind the tank, drapes, are open, and that let a lot of light in. So these plants, especially the Anubias, really boomed. Obviously, the pothos is loving it. Cats coming
Someone's
and going.
scratching at the door.
They love a good opportunity to come in. It's nice and warm. This one is learning how to be a fish room cat. It's not the best at it yet.
Fish are friends.
Yeah. But yeah, this tank's been going for a long time, and I'm really happy with it. Some tanks I've done some stuff with, some tanks I really haven't done much. Other tanks I set up to be so perfect and pretty, like the one down below, and the fish that are in there have decided to do whatever the heck that they want to do with it. So they've kicked up sand, they've taken root, and I actually have a very prolific trio of bristlenose plecos in there. And now there is probably 50 to 100 tiny little plecos in there. So
you'll over here.
See them for sure munching on the wood, hence all the kind of wood litter on the bottoms. They've definitely uprooted a lot of my plants. But you know what? It's their tank, so let them do what they want.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, we are filming. Quiet on the set.
Now, obviously, we got rainbow shiners in here, which is one of my all-time favorite fish.
Oh my gosh, and they definitely, I haven't done work with their spawning, but they're in there spawning all the time, and when they get going, their colors, I can't even capture them well on film, but their colors are phenomenal. And they've been really hardy. I haven't had any problems with them. They coexist really well with the plecos, and there's some hill stream loaches, again a male betta.
Oh, yep, see him over here. All right, so what's going on in this other 75 over here?
I have, it's kind of an oddball tank too, but I have the purple spot gudgeon that I got from you is in here, and I added...
Oh, look at these guys back here.
3 of the dojo loaches. I have 2 of the goldens and 1 of the traditional colors in there somewhere. And then there's a group of these pearl scale Geophagus. And I just got these. I got them from Dan's Fish, specifically because he advertised them as a cold water geo. And because this tank is on the bottom, it's plenty big for them. It's a 75 gallon. I've got it dropped a little bit, so there's not that much now, but it's room for them to grow. I don't plan to add really anything else besides what's in there right now. It is going to be colder though, being on the bottom level. So
Yep.
that's why they're there.
So what do we got down here?
Here is my MTS out of control. I ran out of room on the racks, so I've now decided to move to the floor. And so
Cat psycho.
the blooper reel is going to be phenomenal. Oh, you little I was kind of cleaning up the nanos that I had and the tanks that I had out back that I don't currently have in use, and I decided that I wanted to try to set up a few. So I set up this little mini rack on the ground, and I don't remember honestly if it's like a 9 or a 10 gallon or what it is, but it's just got a koi Betta in there.
All right.
And yeah, newer tank. Also have a new one kind of tucked behind.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. I just assume all these have bettas in them.
They pretty much all have bettas in them, yeah. And just bettas. Originally, I tried to maybe have like small community fish with them, but it's plenty good with just 1 betta in there.
All right, so what do we got in this 55 here?
So this 55 is I've got 2 different types of African cichlids. I've got the Juliadachromis marlerii. There's a small group of about 5 of them in there. And then I have my first go also at shell dwellers. These are just the Maltese. And they've done a really good job of excavating around in there and kicking stuff up like the plecos in the other tank. But it's theirs, so I let them do what they want.
So do you like the African cichlids, or?
I do, actually. I've really kind of been surprised. They do well in my water. My water is harder here, so I find that they really appreciate the water changes, and I don't have any problems acclimating them in, and they're fun, they're feisty, they've got personalities. There is kind of some weird stuff going on. There's a few Maltese that have taken over a rock up there, and then there's a Juliadachromis that's taken up kind of over by the shell dwellers. So I don't know.
Role reversal.
I'm new to this. Maybe someone else can tell me, but
Yeah, I've never seen Maltese hang out way up here on rocks before.
yeah, those 2.
That's crazy.
It's only those 2.
They were exiled.
Yep, I guess so.
All right, so moving to the back wall here. I got
Back
some
wall.
of my favorite fish here.
Yes. I made his favorite fish front row center.
And even put them in my old tank.
I know. Yes. I'm sorry, but I love
Blasphemy.
them. Those are my Oscars, and that is their tank. They are front row center. I've got 4 of them in there of the different color types. There's also a giant common pleco. He's about 14 inches. I'm giving him a home until he, I guess, outgrows me. And that's why we don't like common plecos. But anyways, he's good in here. It's these 4 guys, and I also moved in a group of electric blue acaras. And they're probably hiding right now.
Yeah, they're in the bricks. I can see them, but the camera can't.
Yeah, they're back there. But they have been coming out. I moved them in there this week, and like the first 24 hours or so, they definitely hid. And the Oscars were super curious. They were looking everywhere for them, and they can't fit in the nooks and crannies. But then the acaras came out, and they've kind of ruled the roost. They all come out and they eat together, and it's nice to have a little bit more color and more life in this tank, and then those acaras will be able to grow out.
And this was supposed to be a sump for it, but it doesn't really look like a sump to me.
It's what I call a very functional sump. So functional, it's now a tank. Yeah, I have it is actually circulating system. There is a pump in the corner that goes up to the top tank, and then it circles back on the far side down here to some filter media. And these guys are super cool. So I have some Florida flagfish It's a very oddball tank. I have a few oddball tanks. So it's Florida flagfish, a group of angelfish of mixed colorations that I got from Tiffany White. And then these are just Madagascar rainbows. And there's a couple of really cool males that I've colored up. And then I have one Melanotania from Hapgood River that's in there. And he kind of, until I get some more to fill out his school, he's schooling around with those Madagascars.
Gets to hang out with fake rainbow fish.
Fake rainbows. And he loves them. They are pretty tight-knit. So are these flagfish. You'll see they're kind of like a little group.
Yeah, I love all the fish in here. This is a good tank.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. The back wall, the main wall, definitely the biggest wall. The top row is all 20-gallon longs.
25 tanks total on this wall. It's pretty awesome.
Good job, the math.
Yeah, math is hard.
25 tanks on this wall, ranging from the little 10 gallons on that second row all the way up to 50-gallon low boys. There's some 40 breeders.
Let's start up here.
Yeah, that is a school of green neons that I've had for a while. I recently added a little bit more to kind of fill out their school and add some new genetics in. And there is one male Pisto cockatoide. I think he's a quad red.
Yep.
If I remember correctly. And I am just growing out a female for him.
And these, in my opinion, are better than neon tetras.
They're my absolute favorite of all the neons of that variety. Yeah, I haven't tried the diamond heads, which I would be interested in trying, but these guys I've had for years. I've added to their school. And they're super, super pretty in a blackwater tank. I used to not have a light on that tank, and the way that they would kind of shine in the dark, so to speak, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, that deep blue is really good.
And I can see from here, I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but there's different shades to the different probably groups that I've added. So, you know, they range anywhere from almost like a true kind of neon blue down to kind of a deep, almost I see like a purple to a contrast to the red. So they're super pretty regardless.
I see some rainbows.
Yeah, I definitely have got a few new groups of rainbows. These ones I'm actually super new to Chilotharina. So these are my first group of Chilotharina that I got from Ryan at Hoon Aquatics, and I'm totally gonna butcher their collection name. Oh, that's a pretty male. I don't know if you can see him from there. Of course, all the cords that are plugged in on that wall are right behind that tank. But those guys are a young group that he's got growing out. He's got some right now that he just dropped off at the Aquarium co-op store. And I'm super excited to grow them out and kind of see them really transform. Even in their like juvenile state like this, the color range is really cool. And I don't recommend light substrate if you really want to see a rainbow's colors, and unfortunately this is white sand. So I definitely am excited to kind of see how they grow out, and I'm needing to learn a little bit more about them now that I am branching out into the different strains.
So these are way larger than the last time I was here.
Yeah, these guys, you probably, if you saw the unboxing we did last year, are the Congo Tetras, and these are the group that I have growing out. I've recently just made some spawning mops and threw one in there because they definitely have been spawning away. I do have bettas though in most of my tanks.
I can see them squeezing through the mop.
Yeah, bettas love the mop. But these guys are super pretty.
All right, so these shrimp look like they're doing amazing.
These are doing phenomenal. This is one of my favorite tanks. Right now, unfortunately, the Aponagitans that are in there have decided to die back, but this was completely full of Apanagitan leaves about a month ago.
We're a month too late.
We're about a month too late, unfortunately, but there is a really hardy group of the crystal red Caridina shrimp in here. I started with like 5 or 6, and that Betta, who has decided to go front row center. These guys started with like 5 or 6 that I got from Bob, and now I lost count at about 30. So there's upwards of 30 or more. I see babies all the time. To be able to, this is also the very top row, so to be able to film these tanks up here, we are holding this camera way up there. But hopefully you guys will be able to see kind of some of the different generations.
Looks like more,
No, these are actually pearl Danios. So I just got these from the aquarium co-op when Bob and I went down there last week, and I went a little ham on some fish.
Just a little.
A little ham. But I got this group of pearl Danios. Again, I unfortunately put them on a white sand tank, so their colors aren't as pretty as they normally would be, but they're beautiful. They're very iridescent. They kind of remind me of like the opal, the gem. There's a female Betta in there up at the top. She's one that I've had for super long. She's up there hiding in that salvinia.
She's like, these guys are way too psycho for me.
Yep. There's a couple of autos in there, which that was another group of fish that I got from the co-op last week. I dispersed a couple small trios around some tanks. There's a pretty strong light on that tank, and with all the plant lights going as well, that one definitely got some algae. So the autos did some damage. I mean, that was like a green water tank a week ago.
Awesome. And these are way bigger than last time I was here,
too. Another one of the Tetras that I got and we did the unboxing on.
Which, if you want to see that, we'll put a card up in the top right.
Yeah, it's super fun and honestly, I put them in those tanks and I haven't moved them yet, but the plan is to get them down into one of these 40 breeders to kind of they are massive.
So, super awesome fish.
Yeah.
But my arm's getting tired, so we're going down here.
We're going down. This tank I've had for a really long time, and it used to have dividers in it. I had I think, set up with 4 individual Bettas in there with the 3 dividers in the middle. And I decided to kind of open up that tank. I added some more of those little nano rasboras, and just leave it to the 1 male Betta. And I'm really happy with that. I liked, having it kind of almost like when I would bring a new Betta in, I would put one in there, but it was harder to clean, and with 45 tanks, that's enough to clean as it is.
Now it's pretty late, so some of these lights are on timers and they're turning off, so.
This tank, usually honestly doesn't have the light on anyways, but it's because I moved in a group of rainbows. So these I got from Dan's Fish, and they're a type of Melanotania.
Okay, here they are.
From Cali Lamper. I'm probably going to butcher that.
I call them Kelly Lumpers.
Kelly Lumpers. I'm super new to...
Kelly Kapowski's.
Yeah. That's a good one. But these guys are already starting to color up. They're, of course, going to hide for the filming, but I think Bob got some good B-roll. But I just love exploring new fish and kind of learning about them as we go. But these are completely new to me. I actually asked Ryan from Aquatics between a couple strains what he recommended, and he definitely talked up these as far as trying them, because we don't know much about a lot of the newer strains, so yeah, I'm excited to see them grow out.
Dan's bringing in a lot of crazy rare rainbows.
Yeah.
And just fish in general, so.
Lots of fish. I really get lost on his website.
And do a little shameless plug. If you click my link down below, you get 10% off your first order from Dan's Fish.
Not a bad deal. And I think, didn't you say that he's got rice fish on sale right now?
Rice fish are on sale right now as well, yep.
Awesome. This tank is just kind of a hodgepodge of fish again.
This one's just a good looking tank.
I really like it. It's always been just kind of a organized chaos, as I like to call it. None of those plants are planted. Some of them are still in their pots. There's a lot that are just floating around.
That seems to be like the new style of aquascape. Just throw in the pots.
I like a really messy tank sometimes. I also have some catfish on the bottom that do their damage. So this tank is just kind of a hodgepodge, but I really enjoy it.
It looks like there's 2 types of rasboras in here.
Yes.
Oh, and ember tetras.
Yes, there's just actually one ember tetra.
This one.
This was actually the ones I got from you when you moved.
There's something else back there. Is that a rosy loach?
There's some rosy loach.
Yeah, it is. Holy smokes.
Yep, and they actually do some breeding activity. Because there's so much in this tank.
There's a female. Oh, there's the male right there. Oh man, those are one of my favorite all-time loaches.
They're super fun. There's some autos in there. There's the group of the Goiter River Rainbows. Those are the ones I got from you, 2+ years ago.
Yep, when I opened my store.
Never had an issue with them. Still the same 6 from when I got them. There's also these peacock gudgeons. There's a group of them, some males, some females. I definitely have seen some breeding.
Am I blind?
Oh, right there.
Oh yeah, right in plain sight.
Hiding in the dark corner.
So another quick shameless plug. I might be bringing some rosy loaches to Fishtoberfest to sell.
Oh, really? Oh,
which
cool.
is, if you're in the Portland area, that's October 8th and 9th, I think.
Yes, and we're both going to be there. I'm excited.
Yeah, if you want to meet us, come hang out. It's free.
It's free, and it's my first show, so I'm super excited to kind of take it all in and see what we see.
And it's my first show of actually having a table, so bring your wallets.
It started out with we need a place to sit and moved very quickly to we're selling stuff.
And you're going to be bringing clippings and houseplants.
I'm going to be bringing some of my plants. Some of these guys have gone a little too crazy, so if you want a piece of the fish shed, I'll be bringing that.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. Let's give it at least another 10 minutes before we plug something else.
Okay. So this tank here is the top of a trio of 29s that I have kind of cascading down.
No.
Unfortunately, the middle tank light burned out today.
Just as we got walked in here.
So that's our luck. And then there's the bottom one there too. But the top one is my breeding tank for my cockatoides, the quad reds.
Oh yeah. Oh yep.
Yep. And these are actually all the fry. So I moved
So
the
these are already
parents
grown out?
out. Yep, the fries are growing out. There's a couple different generations in there, largely males though. So I'm very female shy.
And then emerald eye rasboras.
Emerald eye rasboras.
Super underrated, very inexpensive.
I
rasbora.
love emerald eye rasboras. Yeah, they're
You love
one of
emerald
my
ass.
Emerald eyes. Yeah, they got really pretty eyes. I just actually added to their school too from when we went down to the co-op. And in the middle tank here are some really cool fish.
How does it feel working for the co-op and then just giving him all his money back?
You know, I don't like to talk about it.
Okay. So, not much to talk about here because we can't see anything.
Yeah, there's a school of tetras. I have some whiptail catfish.
Oh, that would have been cool to see.
Yeah, they hide very well though too. They blend in. They hide in there's a huge pogo stellatus octopus in the back corner. And they hide in there, blend in with the wood. There's also some more of those crystal red shrimp, like I was talking about. I'm kind of moving them around. And this is one of the very
Are these glow light tetras? No.
They are, gosh,
Maybe glow light tetras.
I do think they are glow light tetras.
Yeah, they are actually.
With the red stripe.
Yep.
Yeah, just a very basic tetra that are super underrated.
And we did try, well, you did try to find a light for that. So.
I tried so hard.
A for effort.
A for effort, thank you. This tank actually...
tank looks really good.
I didn't have a light on there forever. You told me I needed a light. And for a long time, this was just honestly a scud tank. I have so many scuds growing out in here. There's a shrimp that actually jumped ship from the very top.
Oh, that's funny. Geronimo.
And last week, I got a group of platinum half-beaks.
There he is back there in the back. Where's he at? Where? Oh, yeah, right there. What's he doing way down here? That's odd.
Some of them do, but if you come up to the top here, so I love
I can see him.
How these tanks stagger because I'm able to see so many tanks from a pond view, and these guys actually usually are up at the top. So I got 6 of them, and I counted today. All 6 are still going strong.
This is a very cool fish if you have like a top-down view.
Oh man, I've wanted them. They've been on my list forever. So when I saw them, I had to. And hopefully, I don't know if they're enjoying the scuds, but there's also some planaria because I'm learning how to feed scuds.
All right, well, we kind of went on a detour. We were going side to side here, but that's all right.
These are a couple of they're actually just going to be fry grow out tanks, but I always kind of keep a Betta in a tank to keep it going and keep it live. So right now I've got that's one of my king male Bettas in there. I think actually they're both king male Bettas.
See if I can get some better footage of them.
And the tank on the end is in a redo.
Look at this guy poking his head out.
Yeah. This is the other tank of just kind of the mixed African cichlids that I have. Their tank is nothing fancy, but I found that when I went in there and started to move things around, I really upset things. So I'm just letting it be. They've got their territories.
Yeah, I forget the name of the one on the left, but the one on the right is a Cinot Tilapia Lion's Cove.
So
and then there's
new to
some
me.
more over here.
There's I think at least 4 of these guys, and I have seen some mouth brooding. I haven't seen any fry because obviously there's just too much going on. I have produced a lot of fry in this fish room as far as getting them out of their original tanks and growing
Saving
out. Not so much, but that's the next phase of this fish room's journey, is starting to actually move some of these fry out.
So the Cinot Tilapia are really good for people who want Mbuna, but they don't want the size of an Mbuna. So I call them dwarf Mbunas, but they're pretty neat.
Yeah.
Got a 50-gallon low boy here, and I'm surprised there's no plants coming out the top. What's going on?
I've tried. I've got 2 lights on this tank, and they definitely produce some nice, healthy, happy plants down in the tank, but nothing growing out yet. But this is kind of just another wild tank. I usually throw all my new plants in here, so you'll see kind of a lot of the potted plants. I like to grow them out in this tank. I find that the low boys, having that low profile and that really nice light dispersion, help to get the plants going. So it's just a lot of potted plants.
Rosy barbs, huh?
Yeah, there's a couple rosy barbs that have been in there for a long time. There's also a couple of pearl gouramis. There's some bristlenose plecos. This is my breeding group of White Cloud Mountain minnows. I've had them for a couple years now.
Do I see a Betta in there too?
There's 2 bettas.
Of course.
I forgot that there was a female betta in here, a wild female, I believe, Smaragdina. And then I put a male domestic in there back in that corner.
Oh, here he comes out, yeah.
That's so I've got to figure that out. But for now, they seem to be fine. So.
Yeah, there's enough space in here.
Yeah.
Enough dither fish to keep them occupied.
Yeah.
Now here's a beautiful Betta right here.
Yeah, this is I think a red dragon scale is what they would call that. This tank is kind of going to be a fry grow out tank, so he's keeping it occupied. There's a male super red bristlenose pleco in there as well. And this is a tank where I lost all my plants when the lights were out, so we are growing them back.
This is a neat looking tank. Some Anubias nana petite in there and some...
Yeah, so this tank I actually, I'm not going to lie, this was like an idea I saw on Pinterest. And it's been in my head for like a year now, and I've kind of started to bring it to fruition.
Is this a 20-gallon?
This is, just your typical 20-gallon high. And there's some Nana Petites, there's some Windalove Java Fern, and I do plan to add some more rocks and some more as we go, but as the budget allows.
Yeah.
Building. And then over here is my other...
We got some tannins going on here.
Oh, yeah. This is my other 50-gallon low boy, and this is kind of like what I like to call a Skittles tank. It's all different colors of Neocaridina shrimp and guppies, just lots of different guppies. There's some endlers, there's some rainbows, there's my blue eye rainbows are in there. There's a male Betta. There's just a lot going on. There's some Corys.
All right.
And yeah, that's kind of like a couple of my ponds, my indoor ponds.
Now, can we get to this last one? I see some Coolie Loaches.
Yeah, again on the other side, this is another 20-gallon high. There's some Coolie Loaches, and these were I got from Dan's Fish, and they are, I guess, the giant.
Yeah, this guy's huge.
Coolie Loaches. So they're still juvenile and growing out, but I guess they should be get of the larger size. This is going to be a pleco breeding tank. Right now I just have one female pleco in there and a male king Betta.
Oh, gotta have the Betta.
Gotta have a Betta. Lots of Bettas.
All right, so every time we're here, we always go over the fish, and then people always ask, what do you feed? What's maintenance like? So first, let's start with food.
Okay.
Because I noticed you got a whole wall of stuff over here.
I do.
And I know there's one you can't show, so let's make sure we don't show that one.
Well, most of the labels are already turned around,
Okay.
and that is because I actually I like to feed extreme foods, and these are the extreme food containers, but I kind of reuse them for other fish foods that I buy in bulk. So there's some other foods that are not extreme, so just to not confuse anything, I just turn it around. That way I can also kind of see what's in it.
Like the Vibra Bites?
Vibra Bites. These are like my, these are like the big fella pellets here. The Extreme Nano. These are a Hikari, a cichlid kind of pellet style. I do the flake, and I have the spirulina, I have the krill, and then I do kind of like a combo. Usually when I get a krill kind of down low, I'll add some in, and that becomes the new one. I do a lot of I like a good variety. I like to feed different things throughout the week, so there's lots of different good stuff. Some Hikari stuff, sinking carnivore pellets for the catfish, lots of cichlid food now that I've expanded there. The Corys love these. I would say these are my Corys' absolute favorite food, but besides probably brine shrimp and bloodworms. But the sinking wafers by Hikari are their favorite of all the wafers. All of the kind of schooling fish really love these micro wafers. I like these for the angelfish. They're also a good size for the rainbows, I found. So some of the larger rainbows, it's not too big for their kind of narrow throats. There's also the micro pellets. There's some shrimp food, algae wafers for all these plecos I got. And then, some of the smaller ones, bottom wafers. There's the shrimp pellets by Extreme. I like the fluval bug bites as well. Different types of shrimp food. I do for all the fry. I do the Easy Fry food by Aquarium Co-op. And all sorts of stuff. This is gecko food here. That's the gecko foods container.
And then I see something going on over here.
Yeah, and then, so this is my first go at live food for the fish room. This is the brine shrimp, and I do the co-op line of the Easy Brine Shrimp Salt and their eggs. And then these are the Zis egg tumblers that they sell as well. And
the Zis Brine Shrimp Hatchery.
Yes, sorry. These are the Zis brine shrimp hatcheries I got from the Aquarium Co-op. They sell those as well if you'd like your own. And I alternate. So right now I've got a batch I just started today, so I'll probably feed that tomorrow evening, usually about 24 hours. And I do a lot of eggs, so it's pretty chocolatey brown in there right now. But it'll be super golden in about 24 hours, and that golden is it's pretty cool to see it, the way that the fish interact and the way that their colors change. And actually, my favorite thing about it is the baby bettas that I have in this 5-gallon tank here, which I don't think we showed.
How did we skip this tank?
We did some B-roll on it, but these are my Betta rubras, and they're a mouth brooding Betta. So the male and the female are hiding in this hut here, and all the fry are in there as well. And you usually can't see them. They look like little tiny black grains of rice, but when I feed the brine shrimp, their bellies glow and I can see how many there are, and it's so fun. So that's probably my favorite thing about it.
Nice.
But I do the brine shrimp. That's my live food. I also do frozen food. And I have introduced, this goes for both reptiles and fish, but it's a larva, black soldier fly.
Okay, yep.
And I've been trying to just get some more larger foods for the Oscars in the back especially.
I like to grind that up and put it in my rapashi.
Yeah? Oh, rapashi, that's another one. I keep frozen food like bloodworms and brine shrimp, frozen krill, frozen cyclops for the smaller fish, and a lot of the rapashis in the fridge in the house.
So what's a day of maintenance look like? I noticed we've got maybe some auto water change going on here?
I'm in the process of a water change system. It's never going to be fully auto, I would say, but it's going to make it a little bit easier. So what's done on it right now is these drain ports at the bottom. So I'm still individually siphoning these tanks, or I use these kind of hang-on, DIY hang-on siphons that I've made. And this allows me to kind of quickly drain into these ports. And I have different sized ones so that I never over drain different tanks.
How often do you do water changes?
Depending on the tank, I do water changes every week, but I'm not doing every tank every week. I would say I've got kind of a rotational schedule, mostly because I just don't have the time, but also just as these tanks have gotten established, there's not the need. Certain tanks require more water changes more frequently. You know, like the big boys over here in the back. Other tanks with just like a Betta in it don't need much more than maybe like a top off.
Yeah.
It gets really hot and humid in here, and that does add to the evaporation. So I do a lot of top offs. Anywhere from, usually like my typical water change on each of these tanks is about probably 20% max. If I have to do more than 20%, I honestly will probably do it in stages. If I have to drain more than 20%, I usually fill it up over a couple days. And that is just because large water changes have never fared me well in the fish room, and that was like one of the largest pieces of advice that I saw online as a beginner. So as I've gone, I've just kind of adapted.
Which I think is terrible advice.
Yeah.
And we did a whole video on that.
And really, it's just learning my water. I had to learn my water and the way that it would react with the tanks to kind of develop a water change schedule that works. And then having so many different types of tanks, types of fish, it's really made it so that like once a week I'm doing maybe like 10 to 15 water changes or water top offs. I'm in here once a week watering all these plants. The majority of them need it once a week. Some of them need it less. Some of them need it more. I miss the plants daily or every other day, the ones that need it. But I'm in here every day doing something, whether it's feeding, misting plants, tinkering with lights and tubing. Like I said, I've done the discharge system here. Right now I'm working on the fill system. So you see this black tubing that's kind of running along. I've got to get it anchored up, and then the individual ports. And then back here, tucked in the corner, is kind of the manifold that I built. And I've got it all glued, all labeled, all good to go. It's got a hookup that runs. It's a very DIY system, but it'll work. And basically I'll just fill a section at a time. And the typical water change is done by those ports that I have, which stops all the tanks at the same level for each row. And then that makes fill like even on the back end. So that's the final goal.
Obviously you heat the room, not the tanks.
Yes, I heat the room with just a typical oil heater right now. And I have a fan up in the corner for when it gets hot in the summer. The hottest it got in here, though, was probably about 85 during that heat wave we had.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right, well, thanks for the tour and the update.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, see you next time.
Bye.